which is good. And
it's great.
Yeah,
and from here we only build an empire that can sustain this kind of breakfast-based diet.
Yeah, no. Based on our synergy, I feel really good about our prospects and our the heterogeneous nature of our bipartisan, cooperative, economic-based friendship and partnership.
Yeah, we've diversified our portfolio.
Oh God, have we? We got a lot of a lot of water, but in a lot of buckets. We don't have it all in one bucket.
Yeah, and then we could like spin the buckets around, and because of gravity and inertia, the water wouldn't fall out.
Nope. I remember the first time I saw that as a kid, and it blew my mind.
Hey guys, I am Alex O'Neill. With me, I have Brandt Ranj.
Me? Yes, it's true.
That's you.
That is me.
We've both had very long days.
Yep.
In different capacities.
Agreed.
I'm sorry, Brandt, that your trip took way longer than it needed to.
Yep, yeah, an airport trip should take an hour and a half. It took 4 hours. Not the best.
See, I'm very close to BWI, my airport.
I thought that was a local radio station. I was going to ask you, why does that matter?
Baltimore, Washington International, Thurgood Marshall Airport.
That's it's a thing. We have John F. Kennedy International Airport.
Yeah,
I think there should be an epic rap battle between the two.
BWI versus John F. Kennedy, JFK.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I approve of this, but it'd be very difficult to get the buildings in costume.
That's what we call quitter talk here in New York.
Go big or go home. That's the American way.
Yes. So, Alex, it's up to you to topic us. So what's your topic? Let's get into it.
Okay. So it's weird because I stressed about this because I got, I don't normally get the nerves before this show. This is usually like the easy show for me. I mean, Irrational Passions is easy too, but in a different way.
No, I think that's because the subtitle of Waffles versus Pancakes is it's Waffles versus Pancakes parentheses the easy show.
The easy show. Easy to eat, easy to go down, terrible coming out. This is usually, it's very conversational. We always have a good time. We make some jokes. This is my first topic that I'm bringing to the table for our real release. But now that we've expanded out of the beta where we were just talking about video games, that's easy topics for me. But now I was like, oh, there's so many different things. But this week, this past week, I guess more last week than this week, made it pretty easy for me. And I don't actually know your kind of position on fucking superhero movies. What's up with those?
Superhero movies. I give you any topic in the world. You could talk about the Ark of the Covenant. We could talk about sleep. We could talk about doors, both the band and the physical object.
We could talk about the Ark of the Covenant, but I wouldn't have much to contribute to that conversation.
Well, somebody needs to get really drunk and watch Jason and the Argonauts.
I have watched part of it, and I don't know, man. It just didn't stick with me. Listen,
I had to watch that for social studies in
that's
9th
weird.
grade, right?
I feel like school's fucked up. No, I thank you for justifying all of my fears that my topic is inadequate.
No, it's perfectly fine. I can totally talk about superhero movies.
Yeah, okay. Now you're just trying to make me feel better.
No, I can. But the thing is that I don't like a lot of them. So
that's what I thought. I don't know for sure, but you just seem like a person. You talk about. I don't even know if you've ever talked about movies with me.
No, we've never spoken. I love how you're like in our vast movie conversations that we've never had.
I always got the vibe that you weren't like the big comic book movie guy. I love comic book movies, so I thought this is dynamic. There's a fracture between the two of us, and we can talk it out.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it's because I don't like superheroes that much, which is a weird thing to say, I think, in this day and age.
No, you just don't like childhood dreams. That's fine.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, I grew up in a coal mine where they were dashed. I was kicked a lot. No, I don't. Like, my fiction was always, it went down the video game route. So, like, my superheroes are like a, fat Italian plumber. and like a kid who wears green. Like those are my Flash and fucking Superman. Of course, I'm very, very aware of all the superheroes, and there are some that I like. But I think it's one of those cultural shifts that I'm very acutely aware of, that I'm not like riding on this crest of this wave of, I mean, from what I've heard from all of my friends, I have friends who are super into superheroes. Whatever, pun intent, whatever. They're really into superheroes, and I've noticed this renaissance in the superhero culture, and I've realized that they've been neglected for a good long time until really the X-Men movies came out. We had the first Spider-Man reboot. There was a good period of time where the only superheroes that were getting any love were the occasional Batman flick, and then also some Superman thrown in there. But even Batman had become kind of campy in the 90s, and then the Nolan trilogy came out, and people lost their collective minds. And so it's interesting to see that, but with most other cultural, zeitgeists that are going on, I'm right there with it. Like technology, I'm totally into it. Like video games, I'm pretty into those. Even if I'm not playing a whole bunch of stuff, I keep up with it. Zombies, I'm not particularly into. It's another cultural phenomena that I'm not.
Yeah, we could spend a whole day talking about that.
And we will, I'm sure. One day we'll sit down and talk about zombies, both the George A. Romero zombie film origins.
28 Days Later.
Right. And
Sprinter.
the 1960s beat/psychedelic group, the Zombies. We'll go through their discography single by single and just discuss how those songs have impacted our lives.
You and you're just... See, like, I thought about doing music, like, as the topic.
There's not. We don't have enough time in our lives.
And I was like, I don't want Brandt just to fucking sit here and yell at me for not knowing all this. No,
I would never yell at you. But, so that's something... So here's my question to you. Have you always been into superheroes? When you were a child, did you put Did you wrap a cape around your neck and your whatever? You wrap the blanket around the neck and then act like Superman, that kind of stuff.
I mean, the way you phrased it, and like your superheroes were, you were more interested in kind of video games. That's definitely, I relate to that a lot because I wasn't always. I think I am more into superheroes now than I ever was, which is weird because I'm a 22-year-old man.
Yeah, but they're back now. There's a lot to draw from.
They're big now, and I feel like I know more about a lot of them now than I did. But there was like one specific aspect of my childhood, which was Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series.
Batman the Animated Series is the greatest animated series of all time.
It is. I can agree with that, actually.
It's incredible.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite shows from my childhood. It's one of the best shows ever written and made, especially like kind of geared towards both kids and adults. And it portrays that character the best he's ever been portrayed. That's why I love the Batman Arkham series of games, because they feel like just a continuation of that world.
Well, of course, the voice actors. Come on.
Yeah, all the voice actors, but tonally also it's identical to how that's done. It's a bit more violent because they have a bit more wiggle room, but it's just, it feels like a natural evolution of that world. But that was it for superheroes for me when I was a kid, and I loved Spider-Man when that eventually came out. But like I liked X-Men, but I was never like way into it. A lot of those offshoot Marvel movies like Fantastic Four, I guess I liked. Probably not, looking back, but those kind of failed superhero movies that were starting to come out in the early 2000s were kind of like retrospectively disappointing, but same for Spider-Man. But yeah, like now, with what Marvel's doing with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's exciting. Like, I like this kind of consistency in world and tone across all these different movies with all these different characters. And I like knowing more. Like, I like the idea that Thor is like a publicly known character now, because I love Thor. And I think that's super silly and goofy, and I would have never thought that would be possible. Like, some Asgardian god with a hammer who ended up being a comic book superhero has become kind of like a known quantity. And I like that. I like that Marvel's doing stuff like Guardians and Ant-Man and stuff, and making that kind of the unpopular hero popular in their own way.
Yeah, and actually, although I'm not partaking in a whole bunch of this superhero renaissance, I couldn't be happier that it's kind of happening, because it takes a bunch of these characters that have been neglected or have been, who were never large. They were always only known by a niche, and they're bringing them into the kind of the mainstream consciousness. And I think that that's really great, because as somebody who enjoys some niche stuff himself, when that kind of rises to prominence, it's like, oh yeah, okay, so like, oh, now this game is popular, this song is popular, this artist is popular, and I like. There are certain people who are. The reason why I can't be a real hipster, despite my love of plaid and vinyl and tea and all sorts of other things that would brand me a hipster, is that I don't do these things ironically, so I listen to vinyl because I think it sounds better, etc., etc. But also, if I start to like a band, the first thing that I want to do is, oh my god, well, who would like this song or this band or this or anything like that? And I like to spread the joy. So to see a whole bunch of these people, the vast quantities of people showing up, because there is this continuity in these universes, and like, oh, to see where these characters fit in it, I think it's really great. And for the comic fans who kind of stuck with it throughout the downturning comics when they weren't particularly powerful, prominent.
Super
I think
powered,
that's right. I think it's really great, and especially I listen to a podcast called Back to Work, and the two hosts are in their 40s, have kids that are 5, 6, 7, and they're getting to share their passion with their kids, because it's not like they're sitting down with these old comics, or they have to track them down because they're not available. They can sit down and they can either go through Comixology with their kids, which I think is really great. You have this digital preservation of, again, what were kind of niche comics, and they're more accessible than ever. Mm-hmm. And now they're tied into these big superhero flicks, which are, even as a non-superhero person or lover savant, they do make for some of the best popcorn movies of all time. You sit down, you throw on the Avengers, or you throw on a Batman or something, and you're like, oh wow, you're in. There's action, there's all sorts of other kind of a whole bunch of moving parts, incredible CG if they do it right, great effects, and they're because they're superheroes, everything is on this large, grand, and exaggerated, not necessarily in a bad way, scale that makes them kind of pop, makes them very interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like, for me, like, I like action movies. I'm much more picky with my action movies now than I used to be. Like, I have some friends that are like, The Expendables, fantastic series of movies. Transformers, fantastic series of movies. And I see them, I'm just like, these are terrible. That's just...
So you are a hipster. You are an action movie hipster, sir.
Well, I wouldn't say that, just because... I'm not doing it despite the crowd. I just have friends who love action movies, but I don't like soulless action movies. Like, I see The Expendables as goofy.
Expendable?
But expendable, yeah. It's just, it doesn't have as much heart as something like, The Avengers, which I think Joss Whedon, who wrote the movie, he puts like a lot of heart into it. And for most of the Avengers movie or Marvel movies, I think that's applicable. And there are plenty of action movies that I do love, like the Taken trilogy. I was a big fan of. In fact, just about any Liam Neeson movie, I'll probably enjoy to some extent. Just 'cause
I'm such a not movie buff that my brain auto-corrected the Taken trilogy to the Tekken trilogy, and I'm like, man, were they films? I did my brain. Shit. Yeah, my brain did a legitimate find and replace.
Yeah, that part where Heihachi battles Liam Neeson on the top of a volcano is really fucking. It's great.
Dope. You know what the fucked up part? I also have never played a Tekken game, so really I had zero frame of reference for both of them.
I've only brushed up against the Tekken game very briefly, so it was Tekken Tag Tournament.
Were you in like a crowded Japanese train? You like brushed up against it, and you asked like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to."
And Tekken just gave me this look. He didn't say a word back to me.
But you knew what was on his mind because of the way that he looked at you. Like,
yeah,
probably could have avoided it. Like if you.
He's like, if you were trying, this wouldn't have happened. That's
right.
That's the look I got. And it's like, you just because you don't like me doesn't mean other people don't.
And you meant to brush up against the Taken trilogy.
Yeah.
They look the same from behind. You're like, oh, I kind of know the Taken trilogy. You're like, whoa, it's Tekken.
Similar kind of like back of the head look that they got going.
The hairstyle, virtually indistinguishable.
Yeah, I mean from the back.
Yeah,
of course. No, how the fuck did we get on Tekken? Oh, Taken. That's right.
Taken.
Movies. I was very confused for a moment there. You said you don't like many superhero movies, but what are the ones that you do like?
Spider-Man 2, Batman Begins, which is the only one of that trilogy that I like.
That's my favorite out of that trilogy too. So.
It's so good.
It's great.
So fucking good.
It's actually about Batman.
Yeah, I really don't like the second two movies in that trilogy.
I think,
and it's not even. Again, it's not despite the crowd. I couldn't get into them.
See, like with me, I like the second movie. But like you take Heath Ledger out of that movie and it's garbage. I think it's like actively bad. It's not entertaining. I know like he's that whole movie, blah blah blah. It's like, well, you can't take him out of the movie. That's the argument I always get is like that. He's the only part of that movie that is good, and his performance is what.
You can't take that away from him. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the way he interpreted that character and made it into his own in a lot of really unique ways. But he was clearly heavily inspired by Batman the Animated Series, which I thought was great. But like throughout the whole trilogy, like the whole Batman voice is so fucking terrible.
Thank you. It sounds like somebody doing the Batman voice.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the worst. It's like you listen to Kevin Conroy do his thing, and it's just like, that's Batman. That, like, in my head, when I'm like, if I'm reading a Batman comic, I'm like, that's Batman. Just like a deep, intimidating, resonating voice, not someone who's trying to growl at you.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's either like Batman has a sore throat through the entire thing. You would have thought Alfred was get him some lozenges, like, Master Wayne, you might want to take these halls.
Can we just do an entire episode where you have to talk in your Alfred impression?
Like Alfred? Either that Master Wayne. Or he's also, that's the other great character throughout the entire trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Caine. You can't go wrong.
No, you can't. But it also sounds like I kind of want someone to dub over all Batman's lines with like a real Batman voice.
Oh, totally. Get Kevin Conroy in there.
Yeah, just be like, oh wow, this movie's like a lot more watchable now because of Batman coming back.
The frustrating thing is like Christian Bale's a really good actor.
Agreed.
And I really like him. I just think he's not very good in all of those movies. And the third one is just like, the third one for me is just kind of like a popcorn movie. I think it's just silly. I can't take it seriously at any point.
The problem with the third movie is that I don't like the voices for the two main characters in the film, and they have a lot of dialogue.
I very much like the original portrayal of Bane.
Me too.
And I think Tom Hardy, again, he made it his own thing. I just don't think it worked as well as
Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger did with the Joker. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm glad that we agree on that. That's a lot of people say like those are the best superhero movies ever made, and I can't get behind that. Batman Begins is about Batman, and I like Batman as a character, and that's why I like that movie the most.
I agree. Let's see, what else do I like? Because I don't have the attachment to the comics, to the source material, I kind of have to take a bunch of the movie stuff on face value.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Watchmen.
I like Watchmen too. Yeah.
There seems to be some debate in the film or the comic book reading society or ethos that some people really like it, some people really don't like it. Mm-hmm. I happen to like it. I saw it on opening day with a whole bunch of my friends who had read the graphic novel. Yeah. And I went in pretty blind. It was released on Lil Jon Day, which is kind of interesting. But we went and we saw it, and it was a good flick.
Yeah, I like. I read the graphic novel after I saw the movie, So I think that's kind of like one of those exposure things. Like I saw the movie first, so I like it a bit more. I mean the whole ending thing just, I don't know why a lot of people got upset about that, because like in the graphic novel, they make this monster that destroys the city as opposed to like bombs, which makes more sense. I don't know. It's weird. The Watchmen is very weird, and it's very introspective at a lot of points, and I like that about it.
I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think. I think that might tap me out for a whole bunch of the superhero flicks. I think superheroes have never particularly appealed to me because they're not your average kind of people. I know every superhero has an origin story, and actually those are my favorite. Like I tap out after they become the hero. So I like to see the regular person, I like to see them become the hero, I like to see even the arc of them kind of messing up as a hero. But if there's one flick where it explains the origin, I'm probably not going to see the other two, because I don't need to see that character do other stuff.
But you did like Spider-Man 2, though.
Yeah, okay, so there are exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule. And actually, I think that I had some holdover Spider-Man love because I like the Spider-Man animated series that came out in the 90s.
I did too,
So I think that there may have been some residual understanding of like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, you can do whatever a spider can.
Yeah.
Although, that origin story is played out to me.
Oh, totally. But at this point, I mean, they're rebooting it for like the 4th time or whatever, so...
Right. The last superhero flick that I saw, and I kind of dug it, again, because I didn't understand the source material, and then I went back, and then I had a few problems with it, is the X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Flick, which I think is, it's cool. It's another Wolverine does some stuff, and then I read the comic, and I'm like, well, that's not how it happened at all.
Yeah.
Come on, folks. We don't just do that.
Yeah, I mean, like... I know the ending obviously is very different.
Yes.
I haven't read the comic though. Yeah, I appreciate that that's like the one X-Men movie that's the least about Wolverine, surprisingly. And like X-Men First Class also. He's only a cameo in that movie.
I prefer X-Men Economy.
Yeah, of course.
It was cheaper and a little
X-Men
bit more
Business
uncomfortable.
Class.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're still, at that point, you're still,
I mean, you can give it a different name.
Pretty high budget, though.
Totally. I can't
like
that.
the grungy reboot. It's like made by college. It's really made by college kids.
Yeah.
With their film equipment from the school.
Although X-Men Coach would be a great name for whatever movie.
Oh man, that would have been a great AOL Instant Messenger screen name. That would have been great. X-Men Coach. But it had to have been by like an X-Men fan who was in his 30s, who was like trying to get... He was one of the people that entered a chat room not to harass everybody, but to talk about X-Men trivia.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, guys, I understand that you can get free sex porn at keyword dick or keyword boobs, but we really should talk about...
Dick, yeah.
We should really talk AOL keyword dick. Or I just thought about that because it's AOL
keyword X-Men.
Or AOL keyword Nick is what I was thinking of, because that was always in all of their commercials at the time, the Nickelodeon commercials. You can look us up at Nickelodeon.com or AOL keyword Nick.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about things like that in days of future episodes. But so that's my history with those flicks.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, I've watched like, I think all of them that have come out since the year 2000. Even some of like the in-the-year ones, like Super, which has the guy who is Ellen Page and the guy who played Dwight on The Office. I can never remember that actor's name.
Wasn't that Hesher?
Hesher?
Yes.
Is that his name?
I believe so. I have a friend who's really into superhero stuff.
I like I said, I don't know the actor's name. It was directed by James Gunn. It was what he did pre Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very weird. It's violent, and Kevin Bacon is the villain. That's what it is. Yeah, that's like a great, super gross in a lot of ways indie superhero movie, but there's also stuff like Kick-Ass out there, which is fantastic. I haven't seen the second one, but I don't need to. I was totally set after that first one. And you're right. Like it's weird that there's like a lot of them. I think that was one of the things I wanted to bring up because I hear a lot of people talk about how there's so many superhero movies and they're making so much money that it's gotta fall apart at some point, right? Like it's gotta collapse in on itself.
Oh, certainly, yeah. All good things have to come to an end.
And after like one of the things that kind of spawned this topic in my head.
Spawn is also a superhero.
Spawn is a superhero. He's Image though. He doesn't count, right?
Now you're gonna get murdered by Spawn.
No, that's how that works. No, I'm just
kidding.
I've not seen the Spawn movie though. There was I had an opportunity to watch it at some point, and I was like, this is probably going to be a waste of time.
You passed.
Yeah, hit the pass button on that. Pass go. No, like the Batman versus Superman trailer came out, and I've absolutely no faith in that movie. Man of Steel is okay, but it is not the cornerstone to which you build a cinematic universe upon.
Wow, that wasn't pretentious at all.
I know. I really try. No, it's just like that. It sets a really weird tone for that character, and it doesn't illustrate that character very well. And now you're like the next thing you do is like, well, now we have to introduce another major character who's going to be half that the next movie. We have to basically reintroduce this main character that we already introduced because we kind of messed up doing that the first time around. And also we're going to have all these other characters, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and stuff in that movie as well because, and then we're going to roll right into Justice League. I mean, at that point, I would say, like, do it like Justice League, the animated series, where, you just have Batman and Superman trying to do stuff, and then Flash, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, they all just kind of show up, Green Lantern, because, like, maybe give them a little intro, but assume that the people seeing the movie know who those people are, who those characters are. But, that was, like, my worry. Like, that, when talking about this whole superhero movie thing crumbling, I think of the DC cinematic universe, and then I look at like Marvel and what they're doing, and they're taking a lot of risks in the future, and I don't know if that's gonna work, but I really like their movies, and I'm gonna keep seeing them because I think they do really well. I like you. I guess you don't have any interest in the big Marvel movies.
No, I don't have any interest in any superhero movies, although now they are getting into bringing back the fighting game genre and video games. Superman versus Batman? Come on, guys.
Make that a game. Did you play Injustice?
No,
Gods Among Us? It's, I don't know if, like, you watched that Justice League animated series.
I did, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. See, that's the thing. I liked them when they were cartoons. I liked all of these people when they were in cartoons, all these humans. Or not humans.
Meta-humans.
Meta-humans. Humanoids.
Human-shaped things.
Right. Yes.
That sounds terrible. Human-shaped things. Injustice is kind of much like the Batman games. Injustice feels a little bit like the Justice League animated series. And it's really good. It's like super well voice acted. They got most of the animated series voice actors, including Lex Luthor, which was awesome. And it's just it has fun. It's a bit more fun than the purported DC cinematic universe looks, as well as like those Batman movies. That was kind of like my Justice League movie in a lot of ways because they did the same thing with that story mode. It was made by NetherRealms, and they did the Mortal Kombat 9 and now Mortal Kombat X story modes. And it's very cutscene heavy, in depth. It's got a lot of good character moments and stuff. It's like a legitimate story mode in a fighting game. So recommended if you ever get the chance. The other thing I did want to bring up is superhero shows, because you clearly have a more affinity for them, cartoon or otherwise.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about anything live action at all. So like Smallville. That actually, by the way, not to say that they're garbage or anything. It's just that I'm not into them. So I see that Daredevil is getting a whole bunch of positive reception. That's great. I'm very, very happy, because the worst thing is when you're really excited about the character that you enjoy kind of getting their moment in the sun, to have that dashed by poor acting, or it not being true, the character or the setting or the plot not being true to the source material. So I'm super happy about that. And Arrow is apparently great, and everybody's getting their own show, and that's great. But I think that for me, it was all about the animated series. So you know what show is really good that I wonder if you like it. X-Men Evolution.
I only watched. Wait, actually, was this the one that kind of ran through the early 2000s?
Yes.
Then yes, I love that show.
Yeah, no, that show's incredible. That show's marvelous, and it shows all the X-Men becoming the X-Men, and then their trials and their tribulations, trying to, and it leads up to the end of the show. Actually, it ends. The show ends in a satisfying way, which is great. I loved Batman the Animated Series. Is like a masterpiece on every single level, in every single annal, and I've yet to find a cartoon that has affected me as much, just like emotionally. I watched those when I was a kid, and then I think 2 years ago I ran through the entire series as more of an adult, and was blown away by the complex plots, and they paint the enemies, or the evil doers, or the nemesises, depending on whose side you're on, as three-dimensional characters. It's not just this bad person is bad for a reason. Especially the Heart of Ice episodes. That was gut-wrenching and incredible. Oh, yeah. It was a masterpiece of the animated form. I watched the Spider-Man stuff when I was a kid, and it was a little bit more campy. And the Superman stuff. I watched the Justice League. I like those cartoons, because for me there's some sort of like I like when super crazy stuff is happening on a television. I think it almost impresses me more in a way than when I see it on the silver screen or the big screen, because I have this suspension of disbelief when it's going on in a cartoon, where I'm like, of course there's fucking an entire building is just collapsing because of this crazy thing that happened. But when I see it, on the big screen, I'm like, that's impressive from a technical standpoint. But then you just see like fucking shit getting destroyed, and it's it's a bit more jarring, I think, for me, of course.
Yeah. Are you like not a big action movie guy?
No, not particularly. I mean, I respect them, and if I see a good one, then I'm like, all right, fucking Terminator 2 is dope as fuck. But I'm
Terminator
not.
Terminator 2 is dope as fuck.
But I'm not. It's a boilerplate statement. But I don't seek them out. I'm a comedy fan when it comes to the cinema stuff. I enjoy a good funny flick,
or a hee if I may.
Yeah, well, I mean, depending on the PG-13, it's more of a hee, and then across that R threshold, it's a laugh riot.
Did you watch the non-Batman Nolan movies, like Inception, Interstellar, Memento, any of those?
Yes, of course. Yes, Memento certainly is an incredible flick. I have not seen Inception.
I haven't seen Memento. That's
really? That you should, even as somebody who doesn't like movies. I have a friend who's a big movie buff, and every once in a while I just say, hey, you recommend me 3 movies, and then I watch them, and I'm like, fuck. These are really, 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 really good. But Memento was one of those movies, and I would fucking drop everything and watch that movie. It's a mind fuck, but it's really good.
Yeah, that's on the list. Nolan's like one of my favorite directors, so if not my favorite director. So, yeah, I think Inception gives a little bit of both, best of both worlds, a little bit of action, a little bit of crazy mind fuckery.
Crazy mindfuckery. One of my favorite genres.
Yeah. It's a undersold genre, I think. No, I think that makes sense. Like the animated stuff is in a tier of its own. Like Bruce Timm in the Bruce Timmiverse, as it is playfully referred to as. It's incredible, like what he did with that. Did you like watch Batman all the way through, Batman Beyond?
Oh yeah, Shui, man.
Good. Yeah. That just like that Batman Beyond movie is something else.
Yeah, it's great.
The fact that like they could do that and make that happen, it was really impressive. Even to me as a kid, and when I watched it when I was older, I was kind of blown away. And yeah, like I have a lot of reverence for those animated series. I like Flash, I like Arrow, those live action shows. I think the thing about Daredevil is like it is not just a great superhero show, it is just a great show on its own merits. And yeah, it holds up. It's just like a good drama with good acting and good character development. So if ever you wanted to take a peek into that would be the one. That's like the best that has been applied to a live action show. I don't know. It's interesting. It's weird because I surround myself with a lot of people who just adore superhero movies, and that's just been so ingrained with me since like Spider-Man in like 2000. That I just, me and my brothers would just go and see them. But it is good to have a different opinion that isn't as obsessed with them as the rest of society is.
Everyone is different. No two people are the same.
Fun fact. But apparently a lot of two people agree that Memento is a dope as fuck movie.
It is. A lot of two people. A lot. Well, that technically, if you use the word lot, whatever, the second definition meaning many or a set, then a lot of two people actually does make grammatical sense. I'm saving you here, buddy.
Oh, I know. That's why I said it.
Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah, fuck you. I hand you a rope in the hole that you dug yourself in, and you proceeded to give me the finger.
Nah, man, I was climbing up with my bare hands. No, yeah. Have you just as a closing question, have you ever watched Silver Linings Playbook?
No.
You should watch that movie. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially like I, having suffered mental illness, and we haven't talked too much.
We'll get into it.
But you've told me you've been in similar situations. I think you would have a deeper appreciation for that movie than some other people. So
The Average Bear.
Than The Average Bear, yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's a romance movie. Romance is my favorite movie genre.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah. I'm surprised you find that interesting. I'm very much a very, very romance-based person. That's
all right. We're gonna cue some fucking soulful music under this.
Oh yeah, please do. When you're going
I'm
here.
serious that there was some soulful music that was played just there.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think from that we can talk about movies as a whole on another time and kind of dig into that. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I that was a good talk. I'm glad that I could talk to you about it and have someone not say like, yeah, I love superhero movies. I love Spider-Man. So
I don't know who you have that speaks like that, but you should probably bring them to a speech therapist. I mean, I'm no doctor, but
I'm no doctor, but they're probably dying.
yeah. Based on my non-expert diagnosis, death is certainly imminent.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about it. They should accept that entropy is going to tear the universe apart, no matter how much good or bad that they contribute to the universe, and they have to deal with that everlasting fact for the rest of their conscious existence. So I think they should get their voice shit straightened out.
Got real dark in here.
It's true.
Brandt, if people want to hear
my machinations.
Well, yes, your machinations. But before we get into our machinations, I'll say to people listening, one, we love you. I do. At least I can't speak.
No, I love them too.
Or watching, either or. If you want us to talk about something that, like, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, you could probably tweet it. You could definitely actually tweet it at us at Alfighter27 if you want to tweet at me, at Branj if you want to tweet at Brandt. Just let us know that it's something for Waffles versus Pancakes and you want us to talk about it. I'd definitely be curious to see what you listeners/viewers would want us to talk about. So
certainly
keep that in mind. Brandt, if they want to hear more of you on the internet or read more of you or see more of you, where can they go?
ReadRetro.com is where I do my writing. Waffles versus Pancakes is where I do a bunch of my talking. But the next couple of episodes, within another 2 episodes of this show, there will be a new show that Alex and I co-host with Connor Sheehan, which will be a boon and very different than this. This show is ultimately a bit more personal, and that show is going to be way more geeky, I think.
Yeah.
Although we can't really separate our personal lives and our geeky lives because they're part and parcel. But they can find me on readretro.com. Again, Twitter Branj is BRANJ, and hopefully you'll be able to find me different places on the internet relatively soon. There's a show that I'm doing with Nikki Powell, a mutual friend of ours, called Misdiagnosis. That's MISS Diagnosis, and that's on YouTube. And that's about it. Well, Mr. O'Neill, where could people find you on the internet?
You can find me, irrationalpassions.com is where I post a lot of my writings, although they will be spreading soon, very soon. I can't talk about it until it's like posted, but I've got some stuff in the works that's pretty cool that I'm excited for you people to read. You wonderful listeners. You can follow me on Twitter at alfighter27, which spells just like it sounds. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And of course, you can listen to me here. I hope you're listening. If not, what are you even doing? Or you can listen to me on Irrational Passions Podcast, which I host every Friday. We do it live here on youtube.com/Irrational Passions, which you can watch the video of this here as well. And that posts on Tuesdays for the nice, clean audio version. And that's about video games. Also, that other show with Connor Sheehan, the way I like to think of it is like Waffles versus Pancakes is the Brandt and Alex show. And that show's going to be something different. So
Yeah, definitely. This is certainly our show. It's our goddamn show.
It's our goddamn show. We love it. And we love you. Thank you for listening and watching if you are doing either. If you are listening, and hopefully we are approved, please go rate and review us on iTunes. It's going to help us a ton, especially in these early days.
Also, rate and review us on hotornot.com, where Alex and I both have our separate profiles, and we would love to meet hot singles in our towns.
Oh yeah, totally. I'll see if I can get us up on Stitcher as well, and maybe rate us there. We'll see. That's not a shoo-in. Definitely go to iTunes, rate us there, leave a nice review, and maybe we'll give you a shout out on the show because we love you. That's it. Anything else, Brandt?
No. Again, thank you from me. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and until next week, stay classy.